All right, here with Rams head coach Frank McCrystal. Frank, it's about to turn August, and we're going to turn the page looking towards the 2013 season. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the team's strengths as we head into the new year here?
I think that we've got some very good people at the receiver spot. We've got some very good people at DB. We are fortunate in that I think our defensive line is shored up. Logan Brooks in the Engineering Masters program has decided to come back and finish his time with us. And Ryan Wellman has returned from the Riders and will be playing defensive end for us too. So I think those are those two were kind of surprises a little bit that they were coming back. But receiver and DB, I think, are good strengths for us.
All right, let's talk about the offensive unit a little bit. Who should we watch for offensively?
Well, I think the quarterback spot is something to look for. I think we've really got some good athletic guys coming in. Obviously, Cayman Shutter, our transfer from the University of Hawaii, as well as John Giesman, who comes to us from Manitoba and Winnipeg, who's a big, strong athlete, and we haven't talked very much about him, but he's certainly going to challenge in there too. So I feel pretty good about those things. I mean, we've got our returning guys in Frankie Gray and Zach Olnick, and so we've got a little experience there and some actual game under their belts. So I think that'd be interesting. Michael Kiapway is returning and did some great things for us as running the ball last year. And Mark McConkey will be back. And Mark McConkey is one of the premier receivers probably in the country for sure, and actually will be working toward breaking a reception record this year.
We saw Landon Bush break out in a big way towards the end of last year. Is anybody that you expect could surprise like that this year?
I think all of those guys. The other guy that maybe has been hampered a little bit by some injuries and little tweaks and aches here and there is Addison Richards. Addie's a really good player, and he's big and he's strong and he's tall, and I think will do some fantastic things for us. So I think he might be that breakout player for us, just in terms of if he stays healthy, putting up some numbers that we know he's very capable of, but he's still got to do it. So I think that's something. I think defensively we're going to see, Ryan Fillick and Mason Rossler, that we played lots last year on special teams, and we needed to get them on the field and get them some experience because they're going to be challenging for starting positions for our team this year in that defensive backfield. Connor Ketchen is a guy that now has a year of CIS under his belt at the linebacker spot, so he looks great. He's worked real hard. He's trimmed down and is in the best condition that he probably has been in his life. So I think those are guys that we'll see stand out.
Expectations and goals heading into the 2013 season?
Well, I think you always have to, the goal thing, obviously you would like to get to the Vanier Cup. I think that you have to temper that somewhat, though, with the fact that, you have to have short-term goals before you realize the long-term goals. And the short-term goals we have are to play well and take it a game at a time, which is cliche, but certainly, what we want to do is make the playoffs. And we've been fortunate and able to do that. And, we've gone through a spell where we couldn't beat Manitoba in the early 2000s, and we've been blocked by Calgary the last few years. So we want to get in the playoffs, and we'd like to get over that hump and beat that team, whoever that team might be that we're going to face.
Offensively speaking, can you describe what you expect the team style of play will be?
I think that we'll be. We're not going to change a lot. We're going to do the same kinds of things. I mean, we've got the same offensive coordinator that we've had for years, and so we'll do the same things. I think that you'll see much more active running and movement from our quarterback position, whoever that quarterback may be. We'll be able to have those guys get outside, run, put pressure on the defense that maybe we haven't been able to do, when we had Mark and when we had Teal Orban before Mark. Those guys weren't really running quarterbacks, but these guys that we have now are very capable of taking off the ball.
I think Mark would disagree with you about him being an immobile quarterback, but
yeah.
Moving on, we'll talk about the defensive style of play. What do you expect to see from the boys led by Paul Dawson?
Well, I think we weren't we're not entirely sure yet because we have to see who ends up here. I think that the fact that we have Logan Brooks and Ryan Wellman back really kind of solidifies where we are in some parts on the defensive line. We're not quite sure where we're going to play or who we're going to go with inside. We won't have, that big guy like a Stephon Charles and Akeem Hicks. It doesn't look like. So I think that you're going to have a defense that attacks the quarterback, attacks the ball, and moves. And instead of staying, vanilla or running the same thing over and over, I think that we'll have to change it up and move people around.
If you could describe the Rams in one word this season, what would it be and why?
Well, we're young, and that's obvious from the birth dates. So we're a young team where we're going to have some inexperience, certainly. Even when we talked about guys like Rossler and Phillick that played on special teams, it's still very different when now you're in a starting role. So we're young, and we're going to have some growing pains, and we're going to make some mistakes. But what we got to do, like we talked about before, is keep at it, keep focused, keep on task, and get in the playoffs.
Let's talk about Canada West a little bit. Is there a team you think will surprise, and maybe one that you think will be the team to beat this year?
I think that the team that will be better, and I mean they're all good. There are no gimmies, and I say that every year in this league. They're all tough, competitive games. I think a team that is going to be improved, and I don't know why I have any reason to believe that other than their coach is recruiting very hard, is the U of A. I think that the U of A will be a better football team. The team to beat, I mean, they're all pretty darn good. I know that Manitoba's recruited a lot of guys, a lot of older guys out of the junior leagues. The U of S is, they've done the same thing over and over, and it's tried and true plan that they have, so they're going to be very good. And I mean, Calgary's the defending champion, so until they're not the champion anymore, they probably end up being the team to beat.